Hey guys, it's BlockchainBrad, and today I'm honoured once again to speak with Val Yap. She is the CEO of the PalNetwork. Val, it's nice to see a woman in the CEO seat. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Hi everyone, thank you Brad for having me again. It's so nice to be on the channel. I'll just check out the first video that we did. It was 8 months ago. How time flies.
Absolutely.
And so much has been developed, and I'm very excited to be here to share with you.
Likewise, and it's great to see once again a leading lady in the CEO seat. And I've been checking all through this 8-month period, Val, and you certainly have been showing your skill set, and that is to lead a company. Now, let's get down into the PalNetwork, Val. First of all, can we just do a quick recap about the changes? You've changed from Policy Pal to the PalNetwork. What do you stand for fundamentally? If you could just tell us in that quick pitch of what you're about and what you're trying to do.
So we started as a policy PAL network because we wanted to build that to solve the problem of distribution of insurance policies to the unbanked. And over time, when we started building it onto Ethereum network, we found out about the issues in terms of the whole private and public blockchain. Therefore, we actually launched our blue paper, which is a dual, looking into dual layer protocol, where we branded and call ourselves PAL Network because building this dual layer protocol enables us to work together with our insurance partner, putting the products onto the smart contract, covering the issues that we mentioned, sensitive information, privacy, scalability, and also cost that the dual layer protocol solves. And we've been looking like, oh, actually this dual layer protocol can actually be used for many different verticals. Therefore, we branded and call ourselves PAL Network because we be the PAL, be it for insurance or many different verticals out there to solve the problem that the current Ethereum network cannot solve.
Right, okay, so you've made it clear that you are progressing to a new dual-layered system. We're going to explore that further. And more importantly, you're moving forward with your development. So let's explore how you're doing that. Now, let's quickly talk about some money for a moment because that's on the agenda for a lot of listeners. Now, your cap, you have changed over time. Let's get real with that. You had your ICO. You're now well and truly past that phase. Talk us through what it's been like for you as the leading lady to really go through what you literally saw, which was an exodus from some strategic investors. You had to survive that. How's that been and how have you done it?
It has been a journey. We're still surviving and very thankful for all the supporters that we have so far. So as everyone is aware about how the market situation is, it's been a journey and really cold winter. So right after our token sale was done, the Ether price fell by 20 to 30%, and it continued to fall downwards. So we've been quite prudent in terms of how we're spending our funds that we raised to build the product and also the whole partnership and development. So we look into listing, we look into product development and also partnership. How do we actually spend all those funds in a very wise manner, in a way where the token buyers are able to eventually realize the true value of the token, which is the MainNet launch and the product launch that's coming up very soon. So we have revised our roadmap a couple of times as well. So the first time was that when we actually decided that we will build our own dual layer protocol, which actually cost more time to do that instead of building on just Ethereum or another blockchain.
Right.
On top of that, we actually push forward our launch of the MainNet because we see that the importance of our token holders to really see the value of the tokens rather than just having it as a trading mechanism.
Right. And on that note, I want to ask you on that note, do you see that as a problem? Because right now we see a lot of sideways movement with trading, a lot of speculation, not necessarily a true utility philosophy or practice because once again, we're in that speculative sort of chasm we see between when we started this whole process of crypto into when we move into utility. Speaking of you, I mean, as PalNetwork. So what are your thoughts on that?
Basically, people are still coming in with the mindset that they can make a lot of money by investing, even though it's a utility token. So at conferences, events, I heard some people talking it and referring to it as investor. The truth is that, token buyers, they're not investors because utility token shouldn't promise anything in return. Right. But it does fluctuate based on the demand of the product that like is being built, being used out there. So eventually, when our product goes on the mainnet, people are able to download the PAL wallet to start buying policies. And if there's a product where like a lot of people that can be benefited by buying that product, of course the token value will grow up because a lot of people are using this token. It's the same as any voucher out there. I like to reference it to voucher because whoever we talk to, like insurers, they don't really understand crypto. They don't want to know more about that area at the moment because to them, blockchain is already challenging enough to understand and explain to them crypto is another level, right? So I tell them that it's just like voucher that you can redeem for something. But if let's say this voucher that you can redeem for a service is limited, of course this voucher is high in demand. Likewise for utility token. So right now, because people are only able to buy certain products that we have launched, such as CryptoProtect, Token Show, and next we will launching another product. They see certain value, but not to the mass public yet. Right. So there'll be people who are still coming to buy and sell on exchanges, and we will list them on 3 exchanges within a week, just 2 weeks ago. So of course, people come and get excited when we list on BTrax, and of course, the token price actually changed quite a bit.
Right. Well, let's talk about this in the context of your plan now, because you alluded to this before with your MainNet. Talk us through, obviously, there has been significant change in your tokenomic, or in your price rather. And again, I don't mean to FOMO this, but once again, the challenge is that we want to try and see companies that are trying to generate real revenue, to be real businesses, to sustain their growth. So talk us through the things that are likely to project you into the future with regard to MainNet, and what's the plan there?
So MainNet is launching next month, probably end of next month, very soon. So the upcoming product will be launched next week, where people are still using the ERC20 PAL tokens. And by the MainNet launch, there'll be a token swap. So we've been preparing the token swap documents, speaking to exchanges that can assist us on that. On top of that, we've been opening up Supernode registration. So 3 rounds so far, pretty healthy signups. So basically, people just register that they want to be Supernode and extra incentive by being an early bird. And we'll be rolling out a Masternode registration very soon. So Masternode is on a private layer and it's limited to only 21 Masternodes. And we've been hearing a lot of demand from there as well. So the terms and conditions, everything is going to be out in the next 2 weeks. So those are things that I think the community can expect to be hearing from us. And by early next year, January, people are able to download our PAL wallet and look at their PAL tokens, eventually swap ready. We're still thinking of the name because if it might be called PRC, which seems a bit weird. We're still deciding the name. So by the time they are able to transfer the tokens and get protection on the go. So we'll be launching a couple of products at one go in January. So people are able to download and get the products immediately with the automated underwriting. And most of the products that we are currently targeting are all the parametrics index-based insurance, meaning that they can get automated claims paid out back into their wallet. So it takes away all the pain that you have to deal with for insurance documents, like forms, meeting up with the agents, filing claims, multiple phone calls. So our vision is that we want to bring insurance to the next billion people out there, be it in the unbanked sector and also like the mature market. So when we first started, we wanted to just target the unbanked sector. But we've been hearing a lot from like the mature market, because mature market got a lot of insurers and they're like, oh, actually they need a system like this as well. They want the technology, but then why are we just targeting the unbanked market? Can we actually offer the technology to them? And we were like, yeah, actually we can, as long as they work together with us over there. And our key vision is that more people actually be on the PalNetwork, the community gets stronger, insurance protection, the risk pool is all diversified, and the flow will be reduced. Yeah.
Well, Val, let me interrupt for a moment. Let's talk about the billion people. So you're targeting a billion people as just a general figure to try and support them in the unbanked and also moving forward in general, different kinds of areas of insurance.
Yeah.
But I want to talk more about proof of it working. Because obviously right now we hear so many narratives of theoretical potential. So let's bring it back to the context of proof of revenue, proof of connections in business. Let's go there for a moment. Obviously you're moving towards the utility becoming really transparently functional. So that's next year early, I would imagine. Talk us through how people could perceive this, experience this, and ultimately know this is going to work.
First of all, is that they can really start using the PAL tokens. Because right now, people are taking it to register for early bird supernode, or they're just trading on exchanges. So by January, they can either buy up to 100,000 PAL, stake it, and run a supernode, and they can earn the incentive by helping.
How many supernodes are there, Val?
Currently, we have quite a few, like few hundred registered so far. So been pretty healthy because we haven't done massive marketing. We basically communicated to our current community, and from there, people have been asking whether they can register for Masternode as well, because Masternode requires actually 1 million pound tokens, and we do have people who are very interested on that side. So by January, they can start seeing the real value of that. Oh, then actually helping to power the network to run and truly be decentralized insurance, because they can also suggest new type of products that they want to be underwritten, and then you'll be backed by insurer or backed by mutual pool. So we open up the option of insurer or mutual pool, because after the interaction with the community and been hearing from people the feedback, they love the mutual pool, but some of them require a bit of support from the insurer, because insurer, after all, they take on the risk, so they can actually offer a higher claims payout. So we want to keep it flexible, because the technology is built there. As long as someone is able to come and back it, yeah, why not? Yeah.
Right. Well, now let's expand that. You talked a lot about the consumer interest, and that's very strong, clearly, and moving into January, it's going to be an interesting time. Now, prior to that, how has the enterprise sector been involved? Talk us through some of the partners. You talk to a lot of different high-level people. We see it through Twitter all the time. Who are you talking to? What are these business interests? And let's go through that roadmap of enterprise.
Definitely. So far, we have signed a couple of MOUs, and those are public, like with Ergo. It's a German insurance company that is a subsidiary of Munich Re. Munich Re is the largest reinsurance company in the world, and very happy to share that we also have another MOU with Munich Re covering CryptoProtect insurance, covering both cold storage wallets and also hot wallet. So that's on the Europe side, and we partner with FWD. FWD is originally from Hong Kong. So this company is pretty popular in Hong Kong because it's actually started by Richard Lee, the son of Li Ka-shing, that many people know about. Li Ka-shing is one of the most influential person in China and Hong Kong. So they have a key focus on insurance sector, and I'll be very fortunate to have collaboration with them. On top of that, we've been speaking with quite a few insurers in Japan, Thailand. In coming few days, we're actually going to do a few announcements on our new partners that we'll be announcing for the insurance side. And we'll be starting to talk to partners outside of insurance as well, because some of them are looking at using our automated claims payment and also the underwriting. So one of our partners is MediBlock, based in South Korea, what they do is they empower individuals to hold their data instead of keeping it with hospitals or clinics. So keeping on the blockchain and individuals have access to their data. So what's the key benefits that we're allowing the individual to now have access to data and also underwriting of their policy. And after the policy is purchased, it's stored on the blockchain, and anything happen, the claims can be triggered from that side. So that's what we are working towards. And end of the day, it's the same vision. Like we want to bring insurance protection to the next billion people. How can we help more people other than the emerging market? How do we deliver to them? Because people always asking, emerging market is not that easy because they don't have smartphone. Yeah, we deliver that through micro insurance, through our partners. So we partner with distribution partners, giving them the APIs. And for the mature markets, let's say South Korea, Japan, we basically work with the existing partners, existing players, where they require such technology to provide like efficiency to their distribution and also the whole administration claim now.
Right. So clearly you're working through quite a lot. That was a lot of different partners involved and you've been busy. Now let's talk about the next few months, Val. Have you got a diary full of appointments, of meetings set forth where it's going to expand this further, and give us some hints of what to expect in Q1 2019?
Wow, you're asking me way in advance.
That's okay. Amazing. Give us a hint.
Q1, we're looking to launch in new market, but anyway, the next product that we're launching next week is going to be global. But what I mean by Q1 in new market is that we'll be working with the insurer launching over there from the insurer back pool. So that's going to be in the probably the second largest insured country in the world. So why we're going there instead of the Unbanked is that we need to prove some use cases that this actually work, and then we continue to talk to like emerging markets. So sorry
to interrupt. I just want to clarify this. So when you say not just the Unbanked, what kind of regions are you talking about specifically, and what kind of institutions, what kind of enterprises are we talking about there?
So very big enterprises like, in Japan, you have like the tech giant that owns banks, insurance companies.
You're not going to tell us the name?
So you get the hint that like the big tech giants.
Right.
Yeah. So those are going to be impactful because they not only own insurance company, they own the distribution channels as well. They basically have the whole ecosystem, but now they are all working on silo basis. So how we come in is trying to connect the dots with from the product to distribution channel and all the way to innovation side, because a lot of them are looking at how can they actually tap into a new market segment. So the problem of mature market insurance is that most people have insurance, but how do you differentiate your insurance products? How do you create new type products that will excite your customer base that already have some form of insurance long ago? While the emerging markets is that how do we create modular insurance products that they can get it on the go and it doesn't cost too much from their day-to-day expenditure. Yeah.
Right. So you've made it really clear tonight that you're focusing on two target markets. One is the ones, as you said, the ones that aren't necessarily the unbanked. Those are the ones that can utilize it and potentially quickly and access all the services. And then the unbanked is for those really in those emergent markets where it's really addressing a need for those who simply can't access it. So it's interesting that you changed that tact and expanded. But now I want to talk to you about money in the sense of revenue. Because this is the new buzzword I find in my research is provability in terms of can you transcend just the ideas of business into proof that you're making it. So are you generating any revenue yet?
So we're generating admin fees that are actually revenue. So on the side, we have a business called PalNetwork Singapore. So PalNetwork Singapore generates revenue on a day-to-day basis whenever we sell insurance policy. So, and maybe in case anyone that's new here, so PalNetwork Singapore is a Singapore-based insurtech company that is registered with Singapore regulated MAS as a licensed insurance broker, where we work with 16 insurance companies to distribute travel, car, pet, employee benefits online.
Just interrupt you. So Val, that existed before you built PalNetwork, didn't it?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, that exists before we built PalNetwork. So we started that near to 3 years ago. So we have existing customers, user base, and we understand how does the whole like insurance distribution and the revenue come from. So for PalNetwork side, what is different is that we're providing not only on the transaction that we are earning, so transaction that like each policy being distributed, we charge a fee there when we work together with the partners. And each policy being distributed and also the mutual pool, we take an admin fee. So these are revenue that will add up to keep the company sustainable. Because well, we came from I call it the traditional startup space where people raise rounds after rounds to grow their company, or like then they build towards revenue generating model. Well, like PalNetwork that we done our token sale early this year, what we're looking at is we want to deliver what we have already written on the white paper, promise, and ensure that like this is delivered to the token buyers. And what's next is we want to create a sustainable company, a business that can generate revenue and also create real value to our business partners and also our consumers and like the community that support us, people who buy insurance. Yeah.
And Val, are you on track to be able to do that confidently? There's no other better person to ask this than the CEO. Are you proving that you're on track to produce that revenue in terms of PalNetwork as you move to this MainNet and beyond?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Because we already have 2 products launched, and the third product, pardon me, maybe I should go and like switch on the light.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be no problem at all. We could talk about the products as well, because you were alluding to that before the light issue. So talk us through those products, because I'm sure that the audience would like to know the itemized value points that show us that you can get to that revenue and really move ahead beyond just relying on that income that you definitely need for having a pre-existent business that really sustains this crypto chasm that you're in.
Yeah. So I was talking about the 2 products that we launched so far. So P2P CryptoProtect, basically protecting against your token value drop when the exchange get hacked, because there has been a like apparent issue that we've been saying that the time when Bangkok got hacked, CoinRail got hacked, and then certain token value actually dropped a lot. So that's product number 1. And product number 2 is token show. We call it token show is because we want to protect, like give protection to the token that you hold. And we've been going through a very cold winter that you can see. So basically the price has been like either dropping or increasing just like a little bit. So we created the mutual insurance pool where you are able to buy insurance protection towards the certain product that you like to get protection. So if today your token price for Bitcoin really drop and the rest of the tokens that are in the pool actually increase, you actually get the protection from that. So we have revised our token show product and we launched it yesterday because initially we had 10 tokens, which was way too much of volatility. Now reduced to 5, the top 5 tokens that people often use. So we want to get more feedback from like individuals so that like we can continuously keep improving for the new products that we're launching. So next week we're gonna launch a quick insurance, and then following we'll be putting it on hold because it's actually on ERC20 since we're moving to the MainNet, and also we have a token swap. The new products will be launched when the MainNet goes live in January. So we're targeting 5 products. So you can imagine different kind of products such as flight delay that we already have in Singapore. We make it opening up to global earthquake insurance, all the way to agriculture, drug, etc. So those type of products where normally it costs a lot for an individual to buy, it will just cost like could be a couple of dollars or few cents depending on the type of coverage. Make it super simple for people to understand and buy. Like I often do like chat at events is that people say, oh, how do you actually convince people about like policy PAL and PalNetwork? Since insurance is such a boring subject. No one talks about insurance at like doing dinners. You just want it done and over with.
Right, but money is very quickly popular. So the fact is, insurance is about money. So if you don't want to lose money, insurance is their solution.
Yes, exactly. So what makes us different is that right here, we're creating products that are so simple that you don't have to understand and study how does it actually work. Make it so simple that, okay, if there's the earthquake were to hit this location, epicenter of where and magnitude of X amount, how much coverage you get. So super straightforward and simple as compared to certain insurance products that are like have tons of clause and then this is what you have to do.
Okay, so Val, I'm just going to interrupt for a moment. So what you're saying is you make the process really simple for the consumer. It's really easy. Let's talk about the interface. Let's talk about, say I'm a consumer and I want to utilize your service. How easily can I do it with regard to access? Can I do it on my phone? Can I read through the script pretty quickly? Can I get involved and can I understand it without too much of a drama?
Definitely. So actually it will look very similar like the app that we have for Policy PAL Singapore. So anyone is able to download Policy PAL Singapore app on the App Store or Play Store. It's free, it's available there. Those products are just on a regulated space. So it will be very simple that you download the app, you connect to your wallet, and your PAL tokens will be there. You browse different product A, product B, product C. You look at it, what's the price, what's the number of tokens that you have to contribute to buy this policy, how many days, click through, get protected, and then if that incident were to happen, such as a claim touch wood, it would happen, you receive the claim payment and it will be back into your wallet, which is a mobile app. So the main idea is we want to make it so simple for individuals to get protection on the go. And that's a B2C distribution. We're also speaking with quite a lot of other partners for API distribution. So API distribution will be working with another online player, another e-commerce stores, where they are able to help our community to buy be it phone insurance or like car insurance or like any personal accident plan coverage when they are checking out while buying other type of products. So we have already seen it in flight tickets, right? So every time you check out for your flight tickets, they like to ask if you want a travel insurance. It's doing really well, but this has not been implemented to any other verticals at all. So our key vision is that we provide a whole end-to-end solution for product creation that take a couple of minutes, all the way to distribution through an API or through our mobile phone.
Right. I want to stop you there for a moment because that's quite significant. The end-to-end, you want to increase it all the way to the APIs. Val, is this one of the most ambitious objectives or plans in this industry of insurance within the crypto sphere as well? Would you argue that you're leading this way into developing this kind of end-to-end scope? And in doing so, are you planning on, is this one of the strategies to go global? Because you're obviously stretching far beyond the crypto sphere of people. It's relatively small in comparison. Is this how you break into those new markets?
So I have to say that like the past few months have kind of been quiet in the crypto. Other than like being active with the community, we don't go out there and keep promoting just on the crypto because we see the real value is bringing fresh minds or fresh
users, interests,
users and also, in other words, translated to fresh funds into the crypto world. However, it takes time. It requires a lot of education. So instead of just doing a B2C, telling the community, new people about what is blockchain, what is PalNetwork, we focus a lot on building up real relationship with the business partners, like what I mentioned, like the Japan big tech player there. That will be very significant when we launch together with them, because they have a huge user base there that will eventually be ported to PalNetwork, and there will be fresh minds and also eventually fresh funds coming into getting PAL tokens.
I really want to talk to you about this more. So what you're saying is there's not necessarily an imperative to know about blockchain. There's not necessarily an imperative to understand the fundamentals of the mechanics of PalNetwork, but what there is the products. And if you can expand those products into different markets, that's what really seems to matter.
Yeah, like early this year, everyone talks about technology, how cool is the technology, how scalable. Like, why we build our dual layer protocol is because we want it to be scalable, we want it to be useful. And I think now, you, as you mentioned, a lot of people talk about revenue. It's because I think reality has hit us, like in crypto community, that how do you keep this sustainable? How do you build a business that can go on and on and on? Like, whatever technology that you build today, it has to be used in a real life situation. Everyone was so excited about internet when it first came about, especially websites. People were valuing like websites for like $1 million or $1 billion when it first started. But eventually, when people start seeing that what does the website provide in terms of the value, what is the real business behind, what's the revenue model, what's the user base, etc., then they start understanding how do they value it. So I think it's a very similar situation right here for crypto, especially this year. The whole like tech and only just technology. Now is that how do you bring it to the real world? How do you actually work together with partners?
You raise a great point, because obviously your system with the public and you have a dual system, the public and the private, it's clearly working. Have you had any glitches with your tech, just on a brief point? And then I want to talk to you after we've discussed that on moving forward with regard to some of the challenges inherent in trying to move out of this chasm. And I mean this because obviously right now we see a lot of this speculation, as we've talked about, but how do we then move into a situation where you continue forth, you're successful in developing the business beyond this?
So we've been focusing a lot on like looking at how do we do easier integration with our partners, because it's already quite hard for enterprises that we work with to understand how blockchain works. And their next concern is, do they need to hire blockchain engineers to work together with us for any integration? So we focus a lot on that. And moving forward, our key goal is that we want to have more and more enterprises to be using PalNetwork, so that the whole transaction can be done through the PalNetwork, and naturally you need more supernodes to power the network, and naturally the utility of the token will be realized there. And when more people are using the PalNetwork, then everyone knows about like the marketplace that we built for insurance products, and naturally they will be coming to buy. So that's our strategy in terms of like the growth.
Okay, and what about the tech? How's the tech? How's the tweaks in the tech going?
So on the tech basis, we are going on a pretty right track. So we have started building on the Ethereum testnet first. Then after that, we decided that we fork from Ethereum and build our testnet protocol. So everything is on track. Definitely we'll be launching end of December, fingers crossed. Sometimes you never know, but like I've been checking with the team, and everything is on track. And we also building the dashboard for our partners. So I talk about the business side, right? So how the tech is supporting it is that we have this dashboard that makes it very simple for our partners to work together with us. So if you look at it on our website, there's this ecosystem that we're building, the dual layer protocol with a private layer and a public layer, and how does it interact? There's this dashboard where our partners are able to see the demand in terms of like what are the products that the community, the customers are looking out for, and they can plug and play different type of insurance policies that we have pre-programmed into the smart contract so that they are able to launch it there. So make it so simple for them, and for the tech side, everything is on track to launch by January. So for Q1 tech updates, I think we will have to talk about it next time, because
Absolutely.
there are a lot of things that we are working on. And
but what is interesting though,
as well, you say?
Sorry, sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to say that with regard to that point you made about the permission, or more so the private and the public, what's interesting is you've hybridized this. You've combined these 2 points, and we hear this time and time again with the really top tier, definitely revenue and enterprise focused and enterprise centric blockchain startups and DLT startups, is that they're really moving into those interconnections to make sure they appease the needs and demands of the enterprise. But Val, in that context, I really wanted to talk to you about STOs, because this, this equity provision, making sure that people can invest in the proper sense. Talk us through this, like really give us some hints on, are you looking in this direction given there are so many STO platforms coming?
Yeah, Singapore just announced like the latest investment to a new STO exchange that is going to be launched next year in 2019. So there are a lot of talks around STO, and we've been looking at it as well. Been exploring a couple of ideas on like how potentially like PalNetwork side can actually work on STO. So our utility token holders can eventually get some benefits with the launch of a new project that will be in our regulated space. So we see STO as something very similar to the token sale that like people are talking about ICO. Just is regulated. How's the experience working with the regulators, with the legal side of it, and understanding like what's the true value of like what we can bring to STO investors. Now you can call them the investors.
Right. So let's get this. So Val, let's get this clear, because so many people would love to hear this from people like yourself in that role. Now, as you said, right now the utility token is the function, it's the fuel, and people who purchase this are purchasing that for supporting your ecosystem. Now, if you move into an STO, would that mean that you do a different token to represent that security? And then there would also be this token of utility existent to fuel the ecosystem. Is that how it would work?
Yes, you are right. Of course, nothing is announced and confirmed yet.
Sure.
But we've been looking at that and speaking to our legal side to understand more about how doable, and also like what's the timeline, and how can we actually build in together with our utility token holders. So we want to ensure that when we grow together, the utility token holders who came on board earlier can also get the benefit of us moving towards the regulated space. As we are all aware that crypto is moving towards regulated space, enterprises coming, institutions money coming in. So what is next is really the regulated activity. So STO, there are a lot of ways on how you can do it. So like either you can pack it to the potential revenue of the company, you can pack it to the equity, you can pack it to debt or anything else, or you can even treat it as equity fundraising route, but then opening up to either the AI investors or like the retail investors, depending on the level of like, and also the amount that you want to raise. So we're looking at how we can actually bring some regulation to it as well, because like as much as a lot of people keep asking like, oh, how the price is doing it all, we want the utility token price to be eventually stable to a certain extent, because people who buy the insurance policies, they will want to ensure that they don't pay too much, just like the situation of how people pay Bitcoin pay for their pizza using the Bitcoin many years back. So there's a lot of talks around using your own utility token to buy coffee. Punya's been like advocating that. BNB also been like promoting that.
So essentially, it's really a voucher for currency. That's what it really is. It's a voucher for currency inside your own ecosystem. And you want that, you need that to stabilize. So my question is, and you've done this, you answered this very well, is the STO potential of any business that allows for that separation of the equity, the investment, and then you have the ICO as that true fuel, that ecosystem. So that could actually benefit those who are speculators right now, because they can move into that zone.
You can say to a certain extent, you can benefit.
In the sense of it, they could move into the zone of investment, proper, true, stated investment if they want to move into the STO landscape.
You're right. And but there will be still utility token holders, because those people just want to use it on a voucher basis. Like you walk into the Starbucks today, you want to buy a voucher to redeem a drink, or another option is you can go and buy the Starbucks shares on the exchange. So which one do you want? Do you want to get a drink immediately, or do you want to like stay and see the value of the company grow over time? Can you ride through the moments of them going up and down as a company? So like both can exist at the same time, and that's why I think it's something really exciting, because like projects that have done ICO understand how does it actually work. And for us, we've been fortunate because like we have another business that is in the regulated space. I have to say that these two are separated, but we understand like what are the potential like work that we have to do in the regulated space. So we, on the team aspect, on the like whether mentally are we prepared, we've been looking at it, and that's something that I guess our community will be very excited to hear about, because in 2019 there will be the growth of STOs, and we've been seeing exchanges launching their STO platform. So they're preparing ahead.
Right, and it's good to hear that you are thinking in that respect, because obviously you are currently one of the leading insurance providers in this decentralized frame, and you also don't want to lose that front position, that pole position, as you move forward into the up and coming years. And you're really obviously aware that the STO climate is coming, and it's coming at a fast pace. So let's talk about, I guess, the overall reason for doing this. Why do we need this token? Is it because of transparency? Is it because of mitigation reasons? What's the fundamental reason that you want to push for this as we move into this new era?
You mean for the ICO or for STO?
For the PalNetwork, just generally, why do we need?
PalNetwork, yes. Right. So when we first started, like we were thinking of building just a blockchain, and then we started like brainstorming ideas. And then, oh no, if we want to build like community insurance, where do we find a community? So we started looking into like tokens. How can we build a whole ecosystem? First of all, having the community there to come together to buy the insurance policy. And then after that, we're looking at, how do we build on Ethereum network? If we build on Ethereum network, we don't really need our own tokens as well. Maybe we can find another way to build like the community. Then we look deeper and deeper, realize that actually we need our own token to build up the whole ecosystem. Because insurance is such a big industry. It's an industry that is so close, as in like people who are not inside, they don't really know how it works. It generates a lot of revenue because basically it's a risk calculation and giving people the option to hedge their risk on a day-to-day basis. By having the skill set to calculate the risk and giving the people the opportunity to hedge their risk, they do earn a lot. So we're like, okay, how do we crack into this whole big ecosystem?
Well, just how big is that ecosystem in terms of dollar value? How many, is it trillions of dollars? Are we talking about?
So it's $4.4 trillion spent every single year. So that's a lot of money. Of course, it includes commercial insurance as well that covers like marine and cargo. Those are like really huge ticket size. Right now we're focusing only on the consumer side, but yeah, you never know that eventually we could move on to the commercial insurance
Right.
space.
Well, Val, you want to obviously tap into that 4.4 trillion. What's your marketing strategy? How are you going to tap in, get people talking about it? Because you told us that you're moving into mainstream and back mapping to the consumer that way. But how are you going to get people to hear about you, experience you, know about you, just by, functioning normally in their daily lives?
We believe in providing the real value, and people will find out about you. Of course, I think after the interview, people will start saying, "Oh, Val, you don't know how to do marketing. You have to do influencers, videos."
Well, I'm not paid. I can tell you that.
Yes, yeah. Brad is not paid here. So where I'm coming from is that like we're focusing a lot on like creating the value and getting people to start using it, so that we are helping, like, sounds normal, but we're trying to help the crypto space to grow. If not, the money is just being recycled around.
Right.
Like this amount is just being
So
recycled.
in that sense, do you mean you're expanding beyond the market, the crypto market,
Yes.
because it's all about liquidity, it's all about robustness. You want to build this economy into the mass adoption arena.
Yeah.
So my question is that we get that, and clearly you've shown there's some big companies coming that you're marrying with, but how do we use the marketing strategies to make those people beyond crypto aware? What are you doing? Any market strategies? Let's talk about articles. Are you doing publications? Are you doing releases in any way?
We've been active on just content, sharing what we're doing. On top of that, I think the earn marketing. So we don't really do much of paid marketing. We do earn marketing. Earn marketing means that if the media were to be just share and interview with us, we'll actually talk about our updates. So a couple of weeks back, we were published on Google global blog. So that one actually got quite a bit of pickup. So that was completely unmarketing. We didn't pay anything to Google at all.
But Val, can I ask you frankly, do you really think that it's worthwhile or prudent to only do the unpaid strategies? Isn't it? I mean, you often see some of the most successful companies in the world paying for marketing. What's the reticence there to not pay, or to, if you know what I mean, to just solely do it organically? If you want to hasten this process in the mass market, isn't it better to invest in that a little bit?
Yeah. We have to balance out in terms of how we're growing the company. We could spend a lot doing a lot of B2C paid marketing, and then eventually how much funds are left for partnership and real business development growth. So on our side, what we're looking at is if we provide real value, people come back to you and start doing a lot of earn marketing, and this actually have much more impactful results rather than the paid marketing.
Because it's real. Because it's real and experience.
Because it's real.
Well, I want to talk to you about that, and I do apologize for interrupting, but I want to ask you about the raise, because this relates to what we're talking about. You have a reasonably low cap, really low at the moment in comparison to so many others. You're not in that league of Hashgraph, Affinity, that sort of thing. What's the number roughly right now of your cap? And is that the reason why you've got to really check every dollar, check your balances, dot your I's, cross your T's, and really get focused on everything that in regard to your expenditure?
Yes, you're right. So we are very prudent in terms of how we spend, but I think it comes from the personality, and also when we started building the first company, Policy Pal Singapore, we started by bootstrapping it. So having gone through that, how hard how hard it takes to actually earn back the money.
Right.
So even though we raise funds through token sale, we continue to practice our prudent way of spending, and also ensuring that the funds invested by either invested or put in by token buyers are put into
well spent.
Yes.
Okay. So what's
So
your
that's
current
the
cap?
reason.
So what's your
And
current
on
cap
top
now,
of it,
Val?
yeah, I need to add that Uber, when it first started for a couple of years, they refused to spend on paid marketing too.
Really? I didn't know that. So okay, that's interesting. So you're trying to replicate something like that. But remember also that Google wasn't acknowledged as the best tech of the day, but they must have had some sort of holistic strategy to become known. So clearly you're trying to replicate whatever they did with their secret sauce. But let's now talk about your cap, Val, because right now, what is it roughly?
It's about 5 million to 6 million, depending on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next year, let's talk about that. What kind of numbers are we talking? Let's play. You clearly want this number to change. Do you see that possibly changing?
The number will change once like the mainnet's launch. People are starting to stake the tokens to power the network, and more people will know about like the power network and start buying the insurance policy. And unfortunately, it's difficult for me to give you a figure.
That's all right. I don't really want you. I was just joking. I was just wanting to hear that response. But
Yeah.
Val, talk us through the incentivization as well, because you mentioned that people can stake once this becomes live and active. What's the incentive for someone to want to hodl, to truly hodl?
The key value is that if you hodl and then you continue staking the tokens there, the rewards is about 140 to 180%, depending on how many super nodes there are. And for the transaction volume, as it goes up, then more transaction you can help to approve. That's the key value. Other than just staking the tokens, what I mentioned about is buying the insurance policies. And actually in Q1, we're hoping to launch that, but we will share more in terms of like the progress. Is that potentially you can stake the pool of the risk pool of insurance. So we're still working around that. So that's going to be very exciting because basically opening up the options of you to helping to like diversify the risk that people have put in to buy a policy. You get where I'm coming from, right? So like staking the tokens to power the network, buying the insurance policies, potentially adding into the risk pool, earning incentives from there. And actually the last point I can't actually share too much is that potentially it can earn some incentives from the STO side.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Val, you've given us a lot of information and I really appreciate that. And I know you need to put the light on, so I'll just talk through this. Now, I want to say sincere thank you to you. Obviously, there's a lot of people wondering what's going on with PalNetwork right now. They've seen kind of a lot of volatility and fluctuations, been wondering what's really going on. I've noticed you've been traveling to a lot of different crypto and non-crypto related conferences. Is there anything you'd like to say, given that you do address so many people around the world in those settings? Now you have a platform where you can talk more generally to the crypto sphere. What would you like to say to the people who are considering perhaps to support the utility of the PAL network, and even perhaps, later on when STOs are in the conversation, what's the vision finally from you as a final statement?
So the vision is to bring protection to the next billion people, and bring in the next $1 billion as well. But like end of the day, why we started like the first company Policy Pal is because we want to bring protection to more people at an affordable price. Instead of them paying high insurance premium and getting like all the paperwork they have to deal with to get insurance claim payout. So like the whole story of why I started Policy Pal, I think people can find it online, was mainly because my family had issue getting the claims. And like we've been fortunate because we're based in Singapore. I can go to work, I can earn back the money. I can't imagine people like in the emerging markets, if let's say they are so breadwinner were to pass on, what's going to happen to their family. So like our vision is to bring protection to the next billion people. If we can do so from starting from the Policy Pal to Pal network, all the way to eventually we work on potentially STO. People who come in to support not only can earn be incentive, they can truly be part of the company that is bringing and changing lives out there.
Absolutely. And Val, what about the team? I wanted to ask you that quickly to throw in your final statement. Have you got the team to do this? And are you sort of spreading this out and dispersing your team assets around the globe so they can represent the PAL network?
So we recently hired someone in Korea. So that's the key, first step for us. Because we've been keeping the team in Singapore because of the speed of development. Things have to move really fast. And if it's decentralized, I think it's the vision long term. But if we want to be quick, it's very important everyone is on sync. So that's the first step, having a team member in Seoul, trying to grow in that space. Next, we're looking at other markets, so like Vietnam, Thailand, and also in the Western countries. Next, for team-wise, we will continue to grow next year. But yeah, I guess it's down to the prudent way of growing. We grow only when we need to. We don't do massive hiring just for the sake of we have raised some funds and we decided to do massive hiring. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Val, it's been an absolute privilege speaking with you. You are the CEO of the PAL Network, the leading lady of the blockchain in that region in Singapore. Thank you very much for your time. And hopefully, if it's okay with you, we can do an update perhaps in a few months to get an insight into your further developments, really when you hit that mainnet. Clearly, there's a lot happening. For those who are trying to look at the price and suggest that things aren't happening, clearly that's not the case because, again, in the speculative market, that is not an indicator of the things that are the inner workings of a company, particularly in this new frame of business. So, Val, thank you very much for your time. And you could finish off with a statement and we'll close off there.
Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. And of course, support all the way from early this year. It's been great. And Brad has been giving me updates every now and then, despite that our gap was 8 months of this chat, right? So we've been talking. That's why we have such good chemistry during this interview. So I just want to share with everyone out there who are new to PAL Network, is that do join us on the Telegram, Twitter, follow us and see the updates and also track back the progress that we have made for the past 9 months. So we've done the sale in March, but how much we have rolled out for those period of time and what's coming ahead very soon. In December, MainNet launch. January, people start able to stake the tokens, earn the incentive, how the network working together with the enterprise partners that we have. On top of that, you can buy insurance policies now using the tokens. And
Absolutely.
The token will eventually get some benefits when we actually go on to the regulated space. So that's the key benefit that people have been following and coming to support us. We want to give something back to them as well.
Right, so it's all about not just taking but giving back. It's about the banked and the unbanked for insurance. Val, thanks for your time and we'll catch up really soon. Hopefully this has been informative for the people.
Yeah, thank you and goodbye.
Thanks, Val.